Welcome everybody to this very special episode with my brother and the supreme fitness guru, Alton Sanders. Alton, welcome and let everyone know a bit about yourself.
Aloha. My name is Alton Sanders, and my business is Spiritual Fitness and Bodywork Center. I live in Hawaii, Kihei, on Maui, and I've been in the holistic field for about 30 years. I wasn't born into it. I wasn't taught of this stuff. It came to me. It literally came to me through the earth. And that's one thing I've always been with, the earth element. And that's what my life has gone in toward. It's working holistically, working with the earth, working with energy, and getting through all of this so-called pandemic. And I was saying my main focus a lot in life is as my business says, it's spiritual fitness. And when I say spiritual, it's spiritual encompasses everything, has no religion in it whatsoever. It is the energy of all things. And I love the energy of the earth for one reason is I am a part of the earth, same elements all the way around. And the more I get in tune with that, with the earth, the easier my life becomes. Because for a long time, I was being taken away from that energy. When I mean taken away, it's through foods, through the media, through so many different things. It was blocking my true, honest, and natural energy. And when I found that out and from going within, that was my key. And I became more holistic, got into yoga, got into massage, got into Reiki. I'm a Reiki master, all kinds of things. I was led into it. And it's a beautiful thing.
Hmm. Yeah, with that being said, we're talking today. The theme is Earth Element. So I chose Alton as someone I consider a master of this element. And Alton is a humble man, but he's shown me his accolades, his thick portfolio, like this big of all the fitness and holistic and Western science medical accolades. So we'd love to hear a bit more about what the earth element means to you in terms of from a Western practical sense and also more Eastern, like Chinese medicine sense.
Okay, when I look at the earth element, east and west, I was raised in the West. I was raised in America, and but I traveled the world quite a bit, a lot of the world, not all the world, but a lot of it. And my inner self was always feeling the earth element. When I see the earth element, the planet Earth, uh, it's about growth, femininity, prosperity. It's about birth, fertility, all the grounding and so forth. That's what the earth element's all about. And that's more of our Eastern philosophy that we hear. Now, on the Western philosophy, it's more of what I was feeling is just, oh, I'm out in nature. Let's go for a walk. And we began to cover a lot of it up with cement, big cities and everything else. We started to block a lot of the natural energy that we have within ourselves through the foods that we started producing. Everything became plastic. It's not natural foods. We're going back to it. We're waking up, but it really dampened a lot of our spiritual essence. If I go into a physical aspect of it, it's our pineal gland, the pineal gland right in the center of our brain. We just calcified that thing through all these foods, McDonald's, Burger King, everything that everybody got bombarded with on the media. So they took into it, and it started to disconnect. And I went through it. I was born in 1961. And I went through it. The food was kind of good back then, but I went through with it. It changed to plastic, almost like plastic. Everything was in a wrapper. Everything was going to the store. It could be stay in your cupboard for years and you could still eat it. I remember eating Twinkies when I was a kid. All these foods and that accumulation of all these foods and they were not good, dampened me, pulled me away from the earth. Still love nature, but I was disconnected. I became a robot. Wanted to do all the things that I was told I should do. go to college, get an education, get a job for 20 years and, get your payments and all this other kind of stuff. And I did all those things, but I felt disconnected the whole time. And what came into me is that after going through, I was a Desert Storm vet, and I went to war, and it really woke me up. What I mean by waking up is that I saw myself, I was a pawn, a player on a chess piece, generals and everything. I was running the show. But it was that storm where I was in there and I knew I was coming out. I knew there was a feeling within inside. I saw the hugest rainbow. It wasn't there, just in my mind's eye, this energy just over top of this vast desert. And this feeling came over me. You're getting out. It's over. And I wound up coming out, but that was my first touch of nature or God or Buddha, whatever you want to call it, the source, showing me that there's so much better. And after that, I got led into all these different things of yoga, Reiki. I'm a Reiki master. I got into Jin Shin Do. I taught yoga, got into holistic living. I was a vegetarian for 5 years. I did raw foods. So I did all these different things and my body started just gyrating and I could feel the earth. Call me a tree hugger, whatever you want to call me, whatever. I was that. And it felt good. I mean, I felt the energy and I chased that today infinitely. So between the East and the West, I gravitated more toward the East because they were more holistic. It was more natural foods. You got to the natural herbs. You were eating plants from the earth that have all of it. There's no element that the human body can bring on that a plant, something from the earth, cannot heal. That's a fact. You can run all around if you want to, but that's a fact. And what we've done, especially in the West, we made it synthetic. Oh, the earth can make it. Oh, let's make this in a lab. Before. The difference is that it's synthetic. It's man-made. So once it goes into your body is going to reject it. It will get used to it. You keep forcing it on you, it's going to get used to it, but the body will reject it because it's synthetic and it's not natural. And I found that out by going from the normal things we all do and then becoming holistic and eating full foods. And this is my first year, I can honestly say, my first year that I started, and I've eaten from January all the way up to now, all organic food. And there's a difference in my body. I don't eat as much. My energy is out the roof. And my meditation, everything, incredible. So East and West, we were coming together. Now there's this blend that's happening. And if you're not in that blend, I'm telling you, when you look at the world, you're going to spin out. You're really going to spin out. The earth element is honoring us right now to say, connect. The earth is reforming. It has reformed. It has gone into the fifth dimension. If you know what that is, kind of look it up. But it's gone into that fifth dimension. And anybody on this planet or anything, any being on this planet has to go with it. If you fight it, you're going to spin out.
When you talk about the connection, there's two things that come to mind. One is people who know me at a personal level know I love Star Wars, and connecting to that, the Force, the source, that sort of universal energy field that's becoming now East-West, that blend. We understand that that's not just a fantasy, that's toroidal fields, that's electromagnetic fields all around. And the other thing is this right here, have some cordyceps mushroom powder from my brother Adrian at Retreat CBD. I have this in not a tea. I was inspired by my bro John Manimal, who was on the podcast last time. This is a coffee. So I got some organic coffee with some cordyceps mushroom powder. And for any of you who haven't watched Fantastic Fungi, the documentary, go watch that right after you watch this. Watch Fantastic Fungi. It will blow your mind open. And that mycelial connection is in that documentary. They talk about how the mushrooms, which are very earthy, And that's why I chose this for today's talk, is really the mushrooms are what decompose all of the other elements and turn them into the earth element, which is the rocks and the soil and our body. So when we have mushrooms like this, like cordyceps, reishi, lion's mane, the list goes on, even the shiitakes and the oysters that you eat for protein and nourishment, this connects you into that yin, feminine, mother earth energy. And that mycelial network, the mushroom spores, trees talk with it. This is proven now. And organisms, including ourselves, can talk through these mycelial networks. And that just blows my mind. And that's something I thought of when you talked about the connection and how the earth element brings on this sense of like togetherness, this grounded unification. Like when you're held, someone says like you're my rock or you're my mountain, it's like you're the ground beneath me. It's like always there in trust. We can always trust Mother Earth more than anyone to provide for us.
That's so real. That's so real. And I'd love to share a story with you. And it's deep to my heart. And Owen knows this about me too, is that I've had battles all my life with cluster headaches. And cluster headaches are no joke. They're called suicide headaches. And I've been battling them all my life. And it deals with, a lot of things bring it on. Stress is one of the main things. Stress brings on anything anyway, but stress is one of them. And I happened to go through a death of my mom, my dad, and my brother, all within 8 months, a couple of years ago. So I got these cluster headaches and they came on very strong. And this is a reality. And this is how I learned. And this is how nature and this is how the earth talked to me, is that it was so excruciating, it was so bad, it was the longest duration that I ever had before. So I started taking my these pills that they had. I don't take pills. I don't take pharmaceuticals. And they gave them to me because I'm a veteran. I took them. I just keep them on the side and just in case. And want to be proactive in what they're doing for me, so I can get my medical. But they got so excruciating and so bad, I started taking those sumatriptan. When I started taking them, the headache went away real quick. It went away fast. I was like, oh, man, wait a minute, okay. So I took another one, came back on. After a while, the clusters started coming back more frequent, and it came back harder. And a cluster headache, believe me, is no joke. It's like sticking a hot poker in your eye, and your brain, feel like your brain is cracking. It's the worst pain you can ever have. And they came back hard. And this is the first time ever in my life I just went by understanding why there's suicide headaches. But I learned through using mushrooms. Someone told me about microdosing, and I wound up taking the mushrooms and started microdosing them. And all of a sudden, I was going through one of them, and I just felt this energy whoosh, back and forth in my head, like in my brain, literally. I know it was rewiring. After that, I wound up having one last excruciating one. Called my friend up, went to the hospital. They wanted to put me on high blood pressure medicines, and I'm going like, oh my God, here we go. They wanted, I'm getting stuck on all these medications, like everybody's always talking about. And so I said no. And then he goes, well, you have to take them. You don't have to take them, but I'm suggesting it. So I said, okay, stop our argument. Okay, give me the tube. I'll take the prescription. I never went to get the prescription. I went home. I sat back. I got into a meditation. As I get into this meditation, the mushrooms came up. I went out and got some. And let me tell you, that work that happened in my brain, I'm telling you, it's been 2 years now. I get a little tick. I know it didn't come on and so forth like that, but for 2 years now, I haven't had one. And it is from the mushrooms. And it's exactly right. They are from the earth. They are they're the connection. They're that web between all of nature, to everything that grows. That mushroom is what connects everything. And we are part of that earth. So what happened was, able to let that earth element, by me doing yoga and all these different things, my nadis, my energy lines, they were open. and I was pleading for some type of help. And it spoke to me and said, this is it. And it had to be natural. So all of these, what you got on the side, the mushrooms, the taki, all of them, they are healers. Like I say, there's nothing on this earth, no plant on this earth cannot heal what comes onto our body. That was one of the most, let me tell you, if you ever look up cluster headaches, no joke. And I had many people praying over me. A lot of my friends, I shot a video out with me going through one, and it was just excruciating. But to see what it's done for me, hands down. And I've studied them. I've seen the movie and saw this one with Joe Rogan and wanted to talk to the mushrooms. And it is the reality. The reality is that the only battle that's going on in humanity right now is man against nature, period. All the other stuff is just an illusion. It's man against nature, and man will not outdo nature. The more we connect, the more that we can get together, become one with this nature. That's how me and Owen came together. It was here on the islands in Maui, and it was through nature. Was training him, working with him. We were out in the elements. So we come together. Now he over here in England, I'm here in Maui and so forth, same thing. We have these talks, we have these conversations. It's the connection. It's the total connection. And yeah, I'm so happy for him. His new spirit is coming into the world now with him and his wife. I tell you, I'm more excited about, I guess I'm more excited than he is, but I am so excited about that. It's amazing.
Yeah, a little baby coming through. Yeah, and it's so interesting that you bring up how we met, because the actual connection, what made me decide to start training with Alton, we had been Instagram acquaintances for a few years because I was getting ready to move to Hawaii, and it was like a dream at one time and became a reality. And it was the earth element that brought us together, because I was having this night. I had just moved to Hawaii. So no friends, just started massage school, holistic medicine school. And I looked up to the moon, which is a giant rock, which essentially is a giant stone earth element. And I remember I was crying. I was going, oh my goodness, like, all my friends are back on the mainland. All my family's back on the mainland. I'm on an island in the middle of the ocean. And I looked up to the moon. I said, Mother Moon, Mother Earth, can you bring me some real, like, soul friends? And I remember feeling, not hearing, it wasn't like a voice that spoke English. It was like a feeling. Go train with Alton tomorrow. And I contacted you. The next day, I arrived at your space at 11:11. I don't get too crazy over the numbers, but I do see them a lot. It was 11:11 when I got to your place, and then we ended up hitting it off so well that it was 11:11 p.m. exactly when I left. So it's kudos to the earth element for bringing us back together. I believe our souls, and you believe this as well, our souls have been friends for many, many lifetimes. And but the body is borrowed. The body is borrowed earth.
Definitely, most definitely. That's the part that is you're saying that right there. The body is borrowed. We're more than this body, and more than anything right now. Here we go. The goosebumps. I get those so much now, but it's just the body. It's just this vessel. And what I've learned to tap into, I've truly learned to tap into the energy. When I close my eyes, that blank space, that is my canvas. That's creation. All this other stuff that when I open my eyes and I see all this stuff around and all around me and so forth, all of it was a thought. Every single thing around me that I can see was a thought before it was made. So that emptiness, that space, when I get into that empty space, into the void, and not just this body, that's my connection. That's when I feel that electromagnetic charge in my body, and I allow that electromagnetic charge with the earth. When those two come together, you literally, And it's not a falsehood. You literally feel electricity. You feel energy. And when you can feel that energy within yourself and you let go and you start visualizing or just seeing in your mind's eye what you want in life, you get it. Owen's done. He got to Hawaii. I got it. I live in Hawaii. It's what place I've always wanted to live in my life. You know, I visualized those things. I connected. And the faster, the thing about it, I can visualize in my head and the darkness, in the void, the field, I can visualize there. But when I have that connection, I feel that electricity, because that electricity, believe it or not, our thoughts are just electricity. Our thoughts are electricity. Okay, and then our emotions, okay, we wrap that electricity with a magnet, you know what I'm saying? Our emotions are magnetic, and we put those together, and you can have whatever you want in life. You know, I'm so serious about it. I you know, at times I battle with it because I get back into the body. I get back into this body and thinking this body is doing all this. No, I get into my spirit, and I'm being laid, especially through earth now, into spirit deeper than I've ever had in my life. Deeper. I've been meditating for years. I've always set time for meditation. What's happening in my life right now, because I've connected with the earth so strong, is that I am put into meditation. I'm in walking meditation, where I can be doing anything and I get these feelings going over me. I know, oh, here we go. Just settle out. There's nothing I have to do. Everything synchronizes, everything blends. It's just a beautiful feeling. And I'm gonna tell you, it is a brain orgasm that would take you further than you've ever been. It is amazing. Seriously, it is amazing, you know?
Yeah, so with that being said, for someone who has minimal to no earth connection, I mean, everybody, the body is automatically connected to earth, but for someone seeking to connect to earth on a higher level maybe than they have been on, or a deeper level would be the right word for earth, on a deeper level than they have been, what would your advice be to both a beginner just getting their feet in the ground literally, and somebody who just says, okay, I'm here connected with earth and I want to really immerse and connect to earth's the core? How would we go about that?
That's one of my favorite ones too. And it's everybody does it. Take off your shoes, walk in the grass, walk on the earth. Take your shoes off, connect with the earth. Okay, because, and I don't care, you can have the strongest, biggest, baddest dude on the planet, women on the planet, whatever. I mean, just and I could tell them, let's go out to the field right here. And I want you just to roll on the grass, just roll. And I guarantee you, they would start laughing, and they would have I don't care how badass you are, you would start laughing and you would feel this energy. That, it's as simple as that. And the reason is, again, as we said before, this is the electromagnetic energy that I'm in. This whole body is electromagnetic energy. Then the earth is the same thing. Now I'm rolling that energy over the earth, back and forth and around, and those elements, you know, I'm going scientific now, those elements are intertwining, and it's just this happy feeling. You're connecting. When you connect it with the earth, you are happy, period. You're very happy. So the simplest thing, someone who's never done this before, I tell them, just walk in the grass. And every once in a while you can stop and just roll. I guarantee you, everybody's gonna try. A lot of people are trying. You start rolling, you're gonna laugh. It's automatic. On the grass.
Yeah, there's if you look at grass cells under a microscope, they have little smiles. They're literally like little smiling spirits, these grass cells. It's such a wonderful thing to see. Hey, for anyone who doesn't know, Alton is a master worker with crystals, and I'm not somebody who hypes up people about crystals because I consider myself a master in working with crystals. But you look at the grids Alton makes with the crystals that he has and he sells, is these grids are like, you look at them and it take you to another dimension, take you further, deeper into this dimension in like a blissful way. What inspires you to make those crystal grids, and what do you feel is like the consciousness of the earth element of crystals that we can connect into to help heal our life or change our life in some way?
When I make the crystal grids, it's a complete meditation. It's a complete meditation. I'm not doing anything. I'm being told. When I'm saying told, it's just this energy, and I put him here and I place him there. And when I'm finished, is I look at it, and this is truthful. I'll look at it, then I get why it was made. I'm told after it's finished, because I know different things. As a matter of fact, here's a celestial crystal here. He's right. I love crystals, and they're the most amazing elements. They connect us. And if you want to communicate with the earth a lot stronger, that's what you do. Get yourself a crystal. Okay? Look at it. What are crystals are in your computer. Crystals are in your radio. Crystals are in the earth. Crystals are in everything. Why do we feel so good when we walk on the sand? Because we have crystals in the bottom of our feet and crystals are in the sand. There's that communication. There's electromagnetic energy coming together. That's what it is. So when I do these grids, they come to me, and it's a gift. You know, it's like people who are communicators, and they get a download and information, they spell it out to people. You know, a lot of them say, you know, it's coming through me. I wasn't there. I don't know what was going on. That just came through me. That's what happens when I'm working with crystals. I've studied them. You know, I know the metaphysical properties of many, many crystals and stones. I've sold them. I'm a transporter of crystals. And a little story here. I didn't look to get into crystals. It was not like, oh, I'm going to be a crystal man or whatever, you know. No, it was my very first Reiki class, Reiki 1. And I got in it, and I'll be honest with you, I wasn't into spirituality. I was raised very Southern Baptist, hardcore Christian, nothing wrong with it, but it was, for me, it dampened me and so forth. But I went to this class for CE units. That's all I was. I was a massage therapist, and I need some, you know, extra credit. We call it extra credit or whatever, you know, extra education, more education. And I took this class for that. And we're sitting in the class, and we're going through one of the exercises, and we're all sitting in a circle. And I just started vibrating. I felt like I was shaking, like I was like just shaking, but I wasn't. I mean, physically I was, because I looked at my hands. I kind of looked at my hands. I'm going, I'm all right. I'm okay. I'm not freaking out, you know. So right here, and everybody's in a circle, and I didn't notice it, but I had somehow kind of pulled myself away from this, out of the circle. And I looked up at the teacher, and Brennan, I said, I don't know what's going on, but I am like feeling so, I'm vibrating, I'm shaking, but I'm not shaking. I don't know what's going on. So she goes, she stopped the class, and we all got up, and she put in big crystals in the middle of the floor, and we all got up and we did a little exercise. We went up our bodies, and we just threw the energy into the crystals in the middle. Did it 3 times. Whew. I wasn't vibrating anymore. So I'm like, okay, that was kind of weird and so forth. And then we did a meditation. During the meditation, after we did the meditation, we talked about what we saw. And I saw during the meditation a vision of crystals just shooting out of the ground, all over the ground. And I didn't think anything about it. 2 months later, I go to a crystal shop because I was going to pick up some crystals. And I found the book. There's this book right here. That is literally the vision that I saw. And I go, I gotta have that book. And this book is all about crystals. And that was my journey. That was the beginning of my journey with crystals. I started learning everything about them, their properties. And by the way, my favorite one is citrine. I just love citrine. It's a wealth, it's a prosperity. It's for the solar plexus. It's the most amazing crystal for me. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, exactly. So like I say, crystals it was a magnetic force. They brought me to it, and now I can't live without them.
Yeah, I think I spoke about this in the TNG I did with Marco about Reiki, but the crystals actually brought me to Reiki, and Reiki brought me to all of this. All the best, since I started Reiki, life has gone steady up like this, like steady, like a little bit of bumps, like, oh, I'll take a little bit of bumps, but it's been like my life has been so good since Reiki, and the crystals brought me there because I was going through a really dark night of the soul, 2012, 2013, the Great Awakening, the great end of time, as the Mayans called it, but it's really the end of illusions. Uh, and so I was going through this rough time. I was like, I needed healing. I had family trauma, ancestral trauma, literal trauma of growing up in New York and experiencing all that nonsense. And I said, okay, I meditate a lot on my own. I'm always been metaphysical, always been like into Jedi type, wizardly archetype. I said, okay, I love crystals, but I've never had a crystal. I've always loved and wanted to connect with crystals, so I decided to go to a crystal store. I went towards this crystal store in town, and then this other store to my right, I just had this ringing in my ear going like wild. I was like, whoa. And I looked to my right, and this big sign says Gurus. And that was the crystal store that I walked into. Not the one I was planning to go to, but there's just big, beautiful, earthy crystals everywhere, and all this beautiful metaphysical stuff from India. And I met my Reiki master Hector there, and he hooked me up with the crystals, and he said, "You're a healer. You need to be working with crystals, but you need to be working with your energy, not just your crystals." And he became my root guru for Reiki, and it was just a phenomenal experience to know that it wasn't a person who led me to the best times of my life. It was the earth. It was literally crystals. Nobody said, "Oh, hey, Owen, try out Reiki. Oh, hey, Owen, this would be a good path for you." It was literally the earth element herself said, "Owen," telepathically, without words, without um, text messages, Mother Earth said, "Go get yourself your crystals, and that will start your journey towards healing your body, healing your ancestry, healing your soul."
That is direct on, man. I tell you, that's a beautiful story. And I mean, you hear so many people, so many healers, the light workers, crystal children. We have so many different names now. But there's one thing that I love to say, and it happens to everybody. I don't care who you are, rich, poor, black, white, what, it doesn't matter. When everybody gets in their deepest, hardest sorrows, the worst times of their life, we all have them, they're different episodes, whatever they are. Why do you think everybody breaks down and falls down on the earth? They fall down to the earth. They're getting pulled down to the earth. That right there, where people are looking for the savior to help them or something to come out from the sky to help them, it's right below you. It's right on you. It is you. That is why when we get broken down, we go down on our knees. It's not for prayer at all, save me and stuff like that. No, your electromagnetic energy is getting pulled to the earth, okay? And you're getting drained. The earth is literally healing you, literally pulling that negativity out of your body. And people don't understand that. I for the longest time, I didn't know that. But when I got pulled down like that, the worst times of my life, crying and snot running out the nose and not knowing what's going on, I'm laying down on the ground. I got pulled down there, and it was hard. It's not like you stand up there, you're crying and stuff like that. When it really hurts, and it really hurts hard, you just drop. You get pulled to the earth. That's the earth element. That's the power. For me, you can't mess with that. You just can't. Once you connect with that, you're always healed. You are the healer. The earth is the healer. We're all healers. But the thing is, it comes out of us. That healing, it comes out of us when we let go and allow the earth to do its natural thing. All of this is natural law. This is all natural law. And most men, and I don't say all men, but most men are trying to be that law, and they can't. It's universal. It's multi-universal. It's not just this planet either. We get in, and you know that you go there too. We go to other dimensions. We're allowed. Once you really connect with the earth, you are allowed to go to other dimensions, other places. And it's a beautiful thing. It is a beautiful thing. And anyone, I tell anyone, if you don't believe it, you don't have to believe in it. This is what I tell people, and especially when someone comes up to me, and I don't like to fight people, I don't like to fight with their energy and everything. I always tell them, you tell me that this is, and then talking, some people have told me this, I'm talking these crystals and so forth. Oh, I don't believe in that. That's a bunch of voodoo, blah, blah, blah. You're getting this energy. I said, scientifically proven for once now. And then I'll look at them and I'll see that they may have a cross on their neck with a chain or something like that. I'm going like, what is that on your neck? You're believing in that little cross right there. It could be silver, could be diamond, whatever it is. You have the hope in that piece of metal right there. What is the difference? And now I'm showing you something that is physically, scientifically proven that gives off energy that can heal you. Scientific, there's no more no woo stuff anymore. Scientists are proving these things now. So there's no battle, and you're going to see it. And we're seeing it now. Why are so many people coming into energy work, sound healing, Reiki? Because they're getting sick of taking pills and then getting another pill and having to go back to the hospital and not being able to go. And that was my favorite thing. This year, I'll be 60 years young. And I'm going to tell you, in my life right now, I love it. And I love it because of one thing. I'm not, and I never want to be, that elder person who's, oh, my life is so in this crumple and I can't go out. No, I want to be walking around, having fun, playing with my grandkids, and enjoying life. And I will tell you, just do these metaphysical life, going into that, just try it. I'm not telling people you have to do this or anything. I said, just try it. Just try it. Look into some of these things. And the biggest thing of it, believe me, most of this stuff, all of it, it's not going to cost you a dime. To begin with, you don't need money whatsoever. All you have to do is connect. And believe it or not, when you connect and you're in with that energy and you're in with that source and you start thinking of what you really want and what you want out of life, it's going to come to you because you are connected with the earth. And the earth is very, very giving, very giving.
She's such a giver. She's just, and I'm so glad you said that because I was just going to reply to all that, what you're saying, but this is all gifts from Mother Earth. And we only get to borrow it, but it's still the moment I started connecting with Mother Earth, finances up. When I was younger, it was really like, oh, why is it so challenging? Like finances were not great. And then like I connect to Mother Earth, started praying to Mother Earth like the native indigenous people of all lands did, connect and pray to Earth herself, to Gaia. She said, yeah, you want this money here. You want these resources here. You want this connection with somebody here. It's all here. It's all borrowed. And she's so unconditionally loving. And that's why I feel like trust is such a key element to have with Mother Earth because she's so unconditionally loving that we spit, piss, and shit on her, literally. And she takes it all, cleans it. Like it was never happened, like it was never dirty. The ultimate mother. If you have a problem with your mother, if you have a problem with your mother figure, look downstairs. You have the most beautiful, grateful, unconditionally loving mother that you could ever ask right below your feet every single day of the week. No matter where you go, you have a home with her. No matter where you go, you have unconditional love from her. And that living consciousness of Gaia is something that when I look at people who have connections with her, because she is a living, breathing, conscious entity with greater intelligence, much greater intelligence than the average person, I think of you, Alton, as someone who has that connection to her as a being, as if she was right there with us, talking with us, giving us the information to make this kind of wisdom exchange for the world.
It's so true. And I would tell you, my love Uh, it is the earth. I mean, I say that I tear up right now because the earth is the only thing, it's the only element that has been there for me every time. I mean, everywhere. And I'm telling you, and this is the truth. When I say I was lost in the wilderness, I was lost in the wilderness. I did a hike in California from Devil's Postpile in Mammoth, California, through the Minaret Wilderness to Yosemite. And I got lost. And I went by myself, which you're never supposed to do, so never do that. I was going up with a friend. I was going with a friend, and we're going to go hike out. And right when we're going to go, his wife talked him out of it. So I said, I'm still going. And I went. And not even half an hour into the trail, I lost the John Muir Trail. It was gone. And I was like, oh, it was this huge river. And I was just thinking, I looked on my map, had a map, looked on the map, I said, okay, it's by the river. Let me just keep on following the river. And talk about angels. I believe in angels. I believe in everything. Whatever you believe in, all a belief is something you keep repeating yourself over and over. Okay, that's a belief. Something you repeat to yourself over and over and over again, that's your belief. So I'm walking down this trail, and all of a sudden I look out in the water, and there's rushing water coming out. And there's a guy sitting over there, and I'm yelling, hey, you know what a John Muir Trail is? The John Muir Trail, you know where it's at? And he's like, couldn't hear me. He's out there fishing and stuff like that. So I hop across the rocks, and the water's kind of rushing, and I hop across these rocks, and I yelled to him, where's the John Muir Trail? And he just said, just keep following the river. You'll run right back into it. Jump back on the rocks, and I hop back on the shore, and I start walking, and there was the trail. But I looked back, and that guy was gone. There was no one there. There was no one, and there's no way he could have went the other way, okay, or anything like that. And if he would have fell in, I would have hurt him or whatever, something like that. There was no one there. That was my angel. That was an angel in real, getting me back on the base. So that's the earth again, giving me information. Ran out of food, almost to Yosemite, ran out of food, didn't have any food and stuff like that, blah, blah, blah. In the middle of nowhere, still remember this name, Thousand Island Lakes. That's out by the minaret. You see the minarets, Thousand Island Lakes. Out there alone, I hear this, it's fluttering. I'm like, what the heck? And I go looking over, and I look into one of these little tiny lakes. I look over, there's a string of brown trout on a string hanging out there. No one around. I'm in the middle of the wilderness. I'm yelling at people, is anybody around? I took them, had fish that night. Provided, okay? All those stuff you read, people read them in the Bible, all this other kind of stuff like that, okay? Because I read it and I got it, it happened to me. You see what I'm saying? That's the earth providing. And I can go over millions and millions of times of the earth providing for me, and I'm lost or out of food or something like that, and that's given to me. That's contact. There's nothing, I can tell you, there's nothing in this world that could take the Mother Earth from me. I hurt when I see what happened to the earth being was ripped apart and the animals have been taken over, all this other kind of stuff. But during this COVID, I call it a pandemic, we're in that, that's when the earth woke me up again. During the meditation, earth is telling me flat out, this is me. This is me. I'm putting everybody in their house. I'm cleaning up. I need everybody on this planet in their house. Time out. I got to clean up. Watch me clean up. Now look at this earth right now. I'm telling you, Hawaii, bro, I'm telling you, the time we're here, you've seen how beautiful Hawaii is. You've seen it. You've lived here on Maui. Man, it was so pristine. You would cry, man. So blue. All the fish are coming back. The coral coming back. It's amazing. That's Mother Earth. That was only in 3 months. And then it had the rest of the year. You see what I'm saying? That, when we look at this chaos and this illusion that's going on, that was the earth doing its thing. It's a vibration. Other people got to do what she's saying. That was the biggest timeout I've ever seen in my life. And that was brought to me through a meditation with the earth. She's healing.
Oh man, I was gonna give a nice light, fluffy experience. Maybe I'll get back to it about Madame Pele and connecting to the lava earth goddess in Maui, but I'll give instead a story about Kauai, which is more of the disciplinarian side of Mother Earth. So if anyone who knows me knows, when I go to nature places at this point in my life, I have deep reverence, and I ask for permission and give love to that space and give as much healing as I can to whatever land I'm standing upon. But I had a test with this and I failed it. When my wife and I were in Kauai with our good friend Sean Simmons and Tanya, they had us hosted us on this magnificent property in that they were creating Earth eco homes for. And we went to this space, and the Hawaiians, Alton and I know this, the Hawaiians hold the land sacred. The people, the true people who hold close to their ancestry and their tradition, they hold the land and the plants and animals sacred beyond measure. And so I see this sign going to this nude beach with my wife and friends, and we'd see this sign, stay off the rocks, stay off the sacred rocks. And okay, well, I don't know, arrogant, prideful at that point in time. I go down there and we go towards where the nude beach is, and then there's these rocks, right, with this very, very noticeably sacred little tiny waterfall dripping on these rocks. And in my heart knows these are the rocks they're talking about. I should not go on here. This is like really sacred land that I should not be touching. Wizardly, arrogant, megalomaniac Owen's ego takes over and says, I'm going to drink from these waters and see what mystical powers I attain from these waters. And so I do that, right? And I have a wonderful day on the beach. The love of my life and two of my best friends, and we get back to the eco homes that night, and we're going to sleep, and we're in that kind of, Ruth and I are both in that kind of in between awake and sleep state. And I see these elemental beings, and at the time I didn't know they were elemental beings. I thought I was just having a dream. And there was like kind of like a Lord of the Rings elf looking one, and he was singing, and it was really beautiful music. And then there was another kind of like little person with goat legs, elemental being, and then there was a little blue elemental being that kind of looked like a mini alien from Avatar. And I look up to it, and all the other elementals start saying, "Isn't she beautiful?" And I look up to her, and she jumps on my shoulder and screams the most blood curdling scream I ever heard. I woke up, and then Ruth woke up at the same time. She's like, "What just happened? Something just happened. I can feel something, just like the vibe is weird. You need to tune in and do a meditation and a psychic reading for us to check up on what's going on." Then I said, "Oh my gosh, we shouldn't have went on those rocks. We shouldn't have went on those rocks." And it was like the elementals who are usually benefiting me and working with me because they see that I do the healing work and honor the land. Now they're pissed, and I feel it like and that really showed me like these people that are fucking up the planet, they're not getting off easy. Their life is fucked emotionally. They can't go a day without being unhappy. Most of these people that are ruining the land, over mining, over farming, over foresting, they're being haunted by the elementals and taught lessons by Earth. I get into contact with my psychic sensei, my teacher who taught me how to access past lives, Roy, and Roy says, "You pissed off the elementals." He said, "You went onto a sacred land and you need to ho'oponopono, you need to apologize until they forgive you." For 8 days, I spent apologizing verbally, emotionally. And it wasn't until I learned the lesson fully, mind, body, soul, emotions, all of it, that they said, "Okay, we're back on good terms with you." And what came at the end of it, the lesson was they said, "Look, you wouldn't just show up to your friend's house and eat their food and sleep on the couch without telling them. You wouldn't just show up to a stranger's house and just sleep on their couch. use their toilet, use all their nice things. Same thing with nature. When you enter any space in nature, ask yourself, ask the nature around you, can I be here? Especially if the place is sacred. Like if you go to a shrine in Asia, or you go to a sacred temple, or you go to a mountain, ask the land, can I be here? What do you want from me? And feel it. It's not going to give you English words in your ear, but you can feel the land will say, nope, go home. Or, yes, please give this energy, do this thing. And that humbled me. And that's an earth quality. I feel like a grounding quality is humility in connection to
Yes,
the earth.
totally, totally. Being humble as the biggest aspect for the earth right there is being humble. And the thing is, you're looking at a power, you're looking at a being. The earth is a being. The earth is a being. And if you look at the earth as a being that's all powerful, and you can be connected with that, man, it's so phenomenal what's being done. What you're doing, what your wife is doing right now with the earth element, what I'm doing with the earth element is we're coming together, and it's pumping it up. And it's the beautiful thing about it. It doesn't take many of us. It doesn't take many of us to gyrate that energy, to get it going. You know, to me, that's the awakening. The awakening is that we get enough energy that the energy connects with the earth, and then the awakening is the other ones have to wake up. Okay, the others have to wake up. You know, most of them, and it's sad to say, a lot of people, I'm telling you, honest, my parents and so forth, they vibrated away. They vibrated away sooner than they should have because of the mental capacity, what was going on, what was taught, okay, and what they fell into. They weren't. It wasn't connected. It was a disconnection. You know, I'm talking about my own parents, okay, and I understand that, but I understand it. But my parents are there, and I chose my parents for a lesson. I'm of a generation right now. I'm in a generation right now that is totally against, okay? A generation that is totally against nature. They're very destructive. Humanity is destructive. But my generation, I would tell you, being 60 years old and looked at before, has been programmed so deep in destruction that they think that is the norm. That is right. Really think that is right. And I'm telling you from personal point of view, because I had to deprogram all of that. I've been going through a deprogramming for almost 30 years of stuff that it's not true. You know, what people call it blasphemy or all this other kind of stuff, you know? I was praying to a God way the fuck out there, way out there, you know, and not feeling good. I was praying to a God that I was fucking scared of. You know, I feared this God. I was fucking scared he's gonna fucking shoot the bolt down on me and kill me if I don't do these right things and stuff like that. You know, I had to be awakened, and it took a deprogramming. And I'm not saying putting other people down and all this other kind of stuff. It's deprogramming. This is what I think. This is what I believe. This is what the earth is telling me. This is a true belief. And when I found out all this information that don't look out there, you need to go within, because the more you go within, the closer you're going to get to me. That's the earth. And the closer I am to the earth, the closer I am to the universe, the closer I am to natural law. And I truly believe this right now. In my heart, I truly believe this to the fullest, is that we are in a time right now that we're moving into our spirit. This is not a physical evolution anymore. We are in they call it spiritual, they say a conscious evolution and so forth. We're going into those light bodies. You know, people call me, and I used to, I was hush about that years ago, and said people, all my friends, Alton, he's a little hippie guy and blah, blah, blah. And now look at all, I'm telling you, they're the ones coming to me going, you remember 20 years ago, you used to talk about those crystals, or those Anunnaki and those, I'm hearing all that shit right now. What's going on? I'm like, dude, that was 30 years ago, bro. You know, things are changing. And right now, the earth, the elements on our earth all of them, the earth elements, it's open. And I will tell you, every single Aboriginal tribe that has ever lived on this planet, every spirit, the veil is open. Every spirit is awake now. Every spirit is awake. And with an open heart and humbleness, they will help out because you cannot stop this spirit. You cannot stop. You cannot stop what's going on the planet right now. You cannot stop this force. You cannot override it because I'm telling you, here in Hawaii, the Hawaiians, there's a big fight that's been going on for a while, but this is undertow. You got it going over in Africa. You got it going over in England. You got it going over in Australia. All these Aboriginal tribes, we're talking those spirits. It's lifting, man. And I'm telling you, they're connected with the earth. The Aboriginal tribes have been so connected with the earth for so long, but colonial times came in and again tried to strip it away, tried to strip away what is natural. But the thing is, you can't take away natural law. That's what, for me, in my heart, at times I just can't understand why they keep going on with it. But now I do understand. They're losing. When I say they, that is the elite, the 1%, whatever you want to call them, fuckers. You know what I'm saying? They're losing. And this, what's going on in our world, the illusion is happening, is their last hurrah. It's the last hurrah.
You can tell because what happens with people who are, well, we'll say like evil, right? What happens with people who are evil, now that's not the word I want to really use because it's more ignorance, because they're not aware of what they're doing at a metaphysical level. Because if they were, they would be like, oh, this isn't making me feel nice or anyone else, so I should stop it. What happens with those type of people is they backstab, right? Because they got no morality. So one domino falls, they hide behind each other and keep backstabbing. That's what happens with all these people. Now you're seeing like the corruption being revealed. And that's because the person with all the money is like, well, I'm not going to give up all my money. I'm not going to give up all my land, which they pretend to own. So they're like, okay, who's the one at the bottom of my pyramid? Okay, get that slave out there and they're going to get in trouble. And then this person get in trouble because they're all involved with these old trafficking of all sorts of things. I won't go too far into it, but this is also what we're healing from generationally. And that's something that I think everyone on this listening to this show, this episode should hear, is that people like Alton, who you're in your 50s, coming on to 60, still looking good, still strong, still feeling good, they paved the way for us 20, 30-year-olds and the younger generation. We got to understand that we're operating with a level that has been healed and cleared by the previous generation of light workers. 60s, 70s, hippie generation came in and brought back the Taoist knowledge, brought back the Native American knowledge, brought back the African knowledge. All these Aboriginal old knowledges came back, and it was met with a force of judgment that you talked about a little, of that sort of heavily indoctrinated, relegated, structured oppression. So it was not as easy as it is now to be a Reiki master or to be a Taoist master or to be a Kung Fu master. In your generation, in the 60s, 70s, that time period of light workers, it was literally like everyone was severely racist. It was like Bruce Lee was getting called a chink, and then Muhammad Ali was in this big race battle. It's nothing like it is now. And the fact that people try to make it seem like the world is racist now is bullshit, because we're leagues ahead of what we've been in the past. And then you go before that, early 1900s was just coming out of slavery. People, and it wasn't just African people coming out of slavery. It was like, my great grandmother was a German slave. She was an indentured servant in Canada. That's how she got here. And that's how most immigrants got here, is through some type of slavery. And things like swing dance, and even like when Elvis came about and the Beatles came about, is like that was met with so much oppression that nobody talks about. Like when John Lennon got up and said, "Give peace a chance," and when Elvis was like sexualizing himself and saying, hanging out with martial artists and hanging out with Muhammad Ali and connecting with all these different races, there was oppression coming at them. And now we're in a time period where everybody's unified and we have that connection coming back like we did in ancient times. And now they're trying to reverse it because they're, like you said, the people who are trying that profit off racism, profit off divide and conquer, profit off people not being connected to the earth abundance. They're scared because the old ways don't keep people trapped anymore. I'm in growing up in Long Island, New York, and Queens, New York. I'll be playing a basketball game, and friend on my left is from India, or his family's from India. Friend on my right, his family's from Ghana. Friend in front of me, his family's from China. And we're all buddies, and we're all playing basketball. I'd like it, and just 50 years ago, that was like not even close to being the level of love that is present now and trust that is present now. So we always have to give homage to the previous, the ancestors, the predecessors and trailblazers who kind of paved the earth path for us to even consider being a energy healer or consider be someone that heals through their voice or through their art. It's all paved by the ones before us who have walked upon this earth, and their bodies lay in this earth to this day,